On July 22, 1991, a man named Tracy Edwards stumbled out of an apartment building in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, his hands still cuffed. Frantic and desperate, he flagged down two police officers, leading them to apartment 213, where one of the most gruesome crime scenes in American history awaited. Inside, officers discovered photographs of dismembered bodies, human remains in the refrigerator, and a sense of horror that would haunt them for years. This was the apartment of Jeffrey Dahmer, later known as the Milwaukee Cannibal. But how did this seemingly quiet man become one of the most notorious serial killers in U.S. history? This is the chilling story of Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer was born on May 21, 1960 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. His childhood seemed normal at first, but things began to change after a double hernia surgery at the age of 6. Jeffrey became withdrawn, quiet, and often felt isolated. During his teenage years, he developed a disturbing fascination with dead animals, dissecting roadkill in the woods near his home. He began drinking heavily to cope with his loneliness, hiding bottles of alcohol around his school. But no one could have predicted that these warning signs would one day escalate into something unimaginably dark. In June 1978, just weeks after graduating high school, Jeffrey Dahmer committed his first murder. He picked up 18-year-old hitchhiker Stephen Hicks, inviting him home for drinks. But when Hicks tried to leave, Dahmer bludgeoned him with a dumbbell and later strangled him to death. Terrified of being caught, Dahmer dismembered the body, crushing the bones and scattering them in the woods behind his home. This was just the beginning. For nearly a decade after his first murder, Dahmer managed to suppress his urges, but in 1987, his killing spree truly began. He moved to Milwaukee and started luring young men to his apartment, offering money or companionship. Once inside, Dahmer would drug, sexually assault, and kill his victims, often photographing the gruesome process. He then dismembered the bodies, keeping skulls, bones, and other remains as trophies. His crimes grew more depraved as he began experimenting with cannibalism, consuming parts of his victims to make them a permanent part of him. On July 22, 1991, Tracy Edwards managed to escape from Dahmer's apartment. He ran through the streets, still wearing the handcuffs that Dahmer had locked around his wrists. When police arrived at the apartment, they were greeted by a horrific sight. Human heads in the refrigerator, Polaroid photos of dismembered bodies, barrel filled with decomposing remains. Dahmer was arrested immediately, and during questioning, he calmly confessed to killing 17 young men and boys. Dahmer's trial began in January 1992. He pleaded guilty to 15 of the 17 murders, admitting to all details with chilling detachment. The courtroom was packed with victims' families, some sobbing while others expressed rage at Dahmer's lack of remorse. In a shocking twist, Dahmer addressed the court, stating,
"I didn't ever want freedom. Frankly, I wanted death for myself."
He was sentenced to 16 consecutive life terms, totaling 957 years in prison. Dahmer was imprisoned at the Columbia Correctional Institution in Portage, Wisconsin. He reportedly found religion, expressed remorse, and began seeking forgiveness, but not everyone was convinced. On November 28, 1994, fellow inmate Christopher Scarver attacked Dahmer with a metal bar, beating him to death in the prison gym. Many felt that Dahmer's death was a form of poetic justice, considering the brutal nature of his crimes. The FBI became involved after Dahmer's arrest, analyzing his behavior and crime scenes to better understand his motives. Experts from the Behavioral Analysis Unit examined his psychological profile, searching for answers as to why he committed such horrific acts. The question remains, was Dahmer a product of his upbringing, mental illness, or something far darker? Jeffrey Dahmer's story remains one of the darkest chapters in American criminal history. His calculated brutality shocked the nation and continues to haunt Milwaukee to this day. Was he born a monster, or was he shaped by a broken childhood? And inner demons, what do you think? Drop a comment below and don't forget to subscribe for more true crime stories.